Paul Heyman on why WWE is burying Sami Zayn. Things WWE Smackdown got right this week. Ronda Rousey missed WrestleMania 39 due to injury. Paul Heyman on why The Rock vs. Roman Reigns isn't happening at WrestleMania 39. Rikishi to straighten up things within the bloodline. Roman Reigns influenced by a massive burden. Let's jump right into it. Things WWE Smackdown got right this week. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes came face to face on this week's WWE Smackdown. It was one of the biggest segments set for the night as the two superstars, who will likely main event WrestleMania 39, shot a few harsh words at each other. Meanwhile, Bobby Lashley wasn't ready to sit back and play games with Bray Wyatt. He called out the Eater of Worlds on SmackDown, but Uncle Howdy attacked him instead. The Almighty got the better of the masked figure to make a statement on the show. Meanwhile, Ripley and Dominic Mysterio also headed over to SmackDown to get themselves in a couple of matches. Many top superstars also looked to make their case for a shot at the Intercontinental Championship match against Gunther at WrestleMania. Here are the 5 things WWE Smackdown got right on this week's show. Number 5. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns came face to face to kick off WWE Smackdown. The Bloodline came out to the ring on WWE Smackdown without Jey Uso by their side. Roman Reigns got fans to acknowledge him before Cody Rhodes joined him in the middle. The American Nightmare wanted to talk to Reigns and asked him to send Paul Heyman and the rest of the Bloodline away. The Tribal Chief obliged before targeting Rhodes' relationship with his father. Reigns dug deep and said that his father never even mentioned Cody's name during his time at FCW. He tried to get under Rhodes' skin, but the Royal Rumble winner kept his cool. Cody said that he can only get what he's always wanted by defeating Reigns at WrestleMania. The American Nightmare promised to end the story at the show of shows before Reigns left the ring. The segment was phenomenal as it put both superstars over. The Tribal Chief showed a bit of concern while walking out of the ring, and that showed that he is not as confident as he usually is while facing his opponents. WWE has put a lot of effort into this storyline, and the creative team will need to build it a little before WrestleMania. Many fans are still dreaming of seeing Sami Zayn defeat Reigns for the titles. Number 4. Ripley made Liv Morgan tap out to a new move. Ripley arrived on WWE Smackdown and took on Liv Morgan. Liv tried to take control of the match early, but she ran into a big boot from the former Raw Women's Champion. Liv hit a big dive and tried to stay on top of the match. She hit a backstabber but failed to put the Nightmare away with it. The former SmackDown Women's Champion stayed on the attack and got a couple of codebreakers but failed to connect with Oblivion. Ripley missed the riptide but hit a powerbomb soon after. She locked Morgan in the cloverleaf submission hold and made her tap out for the win. Ripley has used Riptide to end nearly all of her matches. It was surprising to see the dominant superstar pull out a submission hold to pick up the win. The new finisher will add to her arsenal ahead of her big match against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 39. Fans could see her reverse the figure 8 leg lock into the Cloverfield hold to win the match at the show. Number 3. Dominic Mysterio defeated Santos Escobar before degrading his father. Santos Escobar wanted to face Dominic Mysterio on WWE Smackdown and teach him a lesson. Escobar started well, but Dominic fired back with a few good moves of his own to make a comeback into the match. Dominic sent Escobar into the corner before sending him outside the ring for a dive. He went for the 619 back in the ring but hit Escobar with a knee instead. The former NXT Cruiserweight Champion came back with a few moves before Ripley got involved and pulled him out of the ring. She hit Escobar with a riptide on the floor before Dom finished him off with a frog splash in the ring for the win. Dominic Mysterio tore his father's mask after the win, and Rey Mysterio came out to confront him. Dom continued to degrade his father and tried to get him to hit him before the segment came to a close. The match was decent and built a story that will likely lead to a match between Dominic and Rey at WrestleMania 39. The master of the 619 could potentially pick up a win over his son at the show of shows before bowing out later on. Number 2. Drew McIntyre calls out Gunther, sets up a potential match to crown his challenger. Drew McIntyre came out to challenge Gunther at WrestleMania 39 for the Intercontinental Championship. He got into an argument with Sheamus as to who should challenge the ring general before LA Knight showed up. Knight said that he wanted the match against Gunther too. He was interrupted by Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston of the New Day. Karrion Kross also made an appearance and said that he should get the match for the title. A brawl broke out between the men in the ring, and Knight sent Woods into Sheamus and McIntyre before throwing him out of the ring. The Celtic Warrior took care of the former $1 million champion before McIntyre nearly hit his best friend. Kross got the final shot on Sheamus and was the last man standing in the ring as the segment came to a close. It looks like WWE has planned for a big match between the superstars for a chance to challenge Gunther at WrestleMania. Surprisingly, the ring general does not have a solid rivalry heading into the show of shows. However, a ladder match to determine who will face Gunther at WrestleMania will be entertaining for the fans. Number 1. Solo Sikoa defeated Sami Zayn with some help from Jimmy Uso on WWE Smackdown. Roman Reigns set a deadline for Jey Uso to return to the Bloodline on WWE Smackdown. He told Jimmy to ensure that his brother was back within a week, or he would be held responsible for Jey not showing up. Solo Sikoa took on Sami Zayn in the main event of SmackDown, and Jimmy kept interfering in the contest. The distraction allowed Solo to take down a fired-up Sami and send him into the ring post and the barricades. The master strategist did not back down and hit a DDT before connecting with the Blue Thunder Bomb for a near fall. He missed the hell of a kick thanks to a distraction from Jimmy, and Sikoa took advantage to connect with the Samoan Spike for the win on Smackdown. The heels beat down Sami after the match and put a chair around his neck. The master strategist got out and hit Sikoa with the chair before connecting with the hell of a kick to Jimmy. He made his way into the crowd and ran away as the show came to a close. WWE has done increasingly well with Sami Zayn over the past several months. The loss will not hurt his value, as Jimmy Uso distracted him during the contest. He will remain in a rivalry with the Bloodline heading into WrestleMania 39. Ronda Rousey missed WrestleMania 39 due to injury. WWE SmackDown's latest episode saw Ronda Rousey being pulled out of her scheduled match due to an arm injury. Fans wonder if she will be back before WrestleMania 39. The baddest woman on the planet is currently aligned with Shayna Baszler, and the two were scheduled to face Natalya and Tegan Nox last night. Unfortunately, the match was modified due to an unforeseen injury. We have some details right here. Will Ronda Rousey miss WrestleMania 39 through injury? There is no confirmation as to if the former Raw Women's Champion will be available for WWE WrestleMania 39. However, according to a report from PW Torch, the injury will seemingly be cured before the grandest stage of them all. Here's what the report stated. Ronda Rousey showed up on SmackDown in an arm sling tonight and didn't wrestle as scheduled, but instead stood at ringside as Shayna Baszler defeated Tegan Nox. PW Torch has learned that she aggravated a prior injury, and it is not expected to infringe on her availability to wrestle at WrestleMania in 4 weeks. If the baddest woman on the planet is good to go before the showcase of the Immortals, she might certainly have more than one option. Triple H could have realigned Baszler and Rousey so that the cracks will slowly create major problems leading up to a blockbuster match at WWE WrestleMania Hollywood. If the duo isn't breaking up anytime soon, the two could have a match together at the showcase of the Immortals. They could certainly challenge the new women's tag team champions Becky Lynch and Lita for the prestigious titles. The two horsewomen of MMA could also continue their run on SmackDown and find a suitable tag team to feud with leading up to the show of shows. What do you think Ronda Rousey will do at WrestleMania 39? Let us know in the comments section. Paul Heyman on why The Rock vs. Roman Reigns isn't happening at WrestleMania 39. Paul Heyman has commented on why the rumored match between Roman Reigns and The Rock isn't happening at WrestleMania 39. The grandest stage of them all is set to take place in Los Angeles this year. Since the Great One is one of the biggest names in Hollywood today, and the Tribal Chief is his cousin, many were expecting them to collide at WrestleMania. Many fans consider it to be a dream match and were hoping to see it unfold. However, the head of the table will be facing Cody Rhodes instead. Speaking to Jimmy Traina of C Media, Paul Heyman was asked why the match was nixed and whether The Rock's busy schedule had anything to do with it. The Weissman stated that he never had a conversation with the People's Champion about doing the match, but he felt that the latter is just too busy with promotional work, the XFL launch, and other projects. I never spoke to Dwayne about this year's WrestleMania. I always heard his name being thrown around. I couldn't imagine with his schedule, his promotional schedule, launch of the XFL, all the projects that he has on his plate, that he would be able to take the time to get back into what we would call ring shape, said Heyman. Roman Reigns' special counsel continued, could he run a marathon? I don't know, maybe. I'm sure he has great cardio, but cardio itself and cardio in the ring and being in ring shape are two completely different things. The Rock was the face of WWE at the height of his wrestling career. He has headlined WrestleMania multiple times and has held 10 world championships. Meanwhile, his cousin Roman Reigns is the current face of the company, and he's been a Universal Champion for over 915 plus days. During the same interview with C Media, Paul Heyman added that a high-caliber match between the two stars would be underwhelming if it lasted just 15 minutes. He explained that fans would expect to see a far longer story be told in the most exciting fashion. The Dwayne Johnson have come back and put together a really classic, very memorable 15-minute match with Roman Reigns for this year's WrestleMania without going through that training. I bet you he could, but I don't think anybody would have paid to see the main event of WrestleMania, of a fantasy matchup, of a dream match between the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns and The Rock himself. I don't think anybody would have wanted to pay to see a 15-minute match. Rikishi to straighten up things within the Bloodline. WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long recently spoke about the ongoing crisis within the Bloodline. The Roman Reigns-led faction was thrown into disarray at the Royal Rumble when Sami Zayn broke rank. While Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa were happy to destroy the former honorary Uso, Jay preferred to walk away. Since then, Roman has tried on several occasions to bring the family back together, but some dissension remains on Jey Uso's side. On the Road Trip After Hours podcast this week, the former SmackDown general manager mentioned that Rikishi could possibly join the faction and rein in his kids. Long detailed how WWE could draw from the real-life relationship between Rikishi, his sons, and Roman Reigns. I think they need to add Rikishi to that mix. Rikishi is the real father. They ain't gotta make up nothing. This is a shoot. Anybody that can straighten up their kid would be their dad. So right now their kids are in turmoil. They just don't know what they want to do. It's a crisis out there. So right now, for Rikishi to step in with some law and order, I think that would be really good. This week on WWE Smackdown, Sami Zayn faced off in a singles match against Solo Sikoa. Jimmy Uso's presence at ringside ensured that Solo picked up the win with the Samoan spike. In the aftermath of the encounter, Jimmy and Solo looked to follow Roman's orders and bring an end to the Zayn problem, but the plan backfired as the master strategist hit back with a steel chair. Solo tried to chase down Zayn, but he was already out of reach and into the crowd as the show went off the air. Would you like to see Rikishi in the bloodline? Sound off in the comments section below. Roman Reigns influenced by a massive burden. Roman Reigns is set to headline another WrestleMania, and it's a testament to his sheer dominance as a heel in WWE. Paul Heyman recently opened up about Reigns' villainous persona and revealed that his client was actually facing a massive burden in maintaining his spot at the top. Since returning in 2020 and capturing the Universal Championship, Roman Reigns has been genuinely unstoppable as a kayfabe bad guy. The Tribal Chief has beaten every major babyface during his record-setting world title reign and, in the eyes of the fans, has transformed into one of the most ruthless heels in history. According to the Bloodline's wise man, however, Roman Reigns was a hero who had to change his ways to keep hold of his throne. The 57-year-old even spoke about the burden that Reigns faces, as you can view below on the C Media podcast. It's the portrayal of a hero that was pushed too far and that went too far and had accomplished so much that once he reached that level that nobody else could have attained, he felt the burden to stay at that level. The responsibilities and the obligations and the accountability of being at that level, and everybody depending on you, weighs on him to such a degree that the things he would do to retain the position on a consecutive level. It's mind-boggling that Roman Reigns could realistically cross 1,000 days as champion if he does walk out of WrestleMania without losing. Heyman explained that Roman's unmatched run, which has spanned multiple years, resulted from meticulous planning and execution that seems to have also changed the bloodline leader in the process. The Samoan superstar has evidently been unforgiving in his approach and, as per Heyman, has decided to go to any lengths to remain the undisputed champion in WWE. The WWE manager continued, "There is a reason he is approaching 1,000 days as the champion in WWE. That's because it's an uninterrupted pursuit of greatness in the very top, not only day to day but micro moment to micro moment. That you can't even be that long of a moment where Roman Reigns does not define the fact that he is the absolute undisputed, uncontroverted, #1 star in the entire industry. And the burden that places on a human being is so extraordinary that the lengths he will go to and the depths that he would stoop to keep that position micro moment to micro moment has led him down a villainous path." Paul Heyman was admittedly biased while talking about Roman Reigns, as they've been together since the superstar's heel turn. Paul believed that Roman had transcended the traditional heel-face dynamic and had reached a level that few of his predecessors or peers had achieved. Heyman has closely studied several iconic heels of the business and picked out one common trait they all had, which Roman Reigns also seems to have developed in recent times. Just because you're biased doesn't mean you're wrong, and we've never looked at this portrayal in the classic pro wrestling, sports entertainment confining definitions of heel and babyface, said Heyman. We've looked at this character as a villain. He is a villain. We even went so far, at one point, as wanting to describe him as an antagonist, and the opposition would be the protagonist. All great villains, at least the ones I've studied obsessively, all great villains don't see themselves as villains. Have you enjoyed watching Roman Reigns' character evolution in WWE? Let us know in the comments section below. Paul Heyman on why WWE is burying Sami Zayn. Paul Heyman has discussed whether WWE considered altering the plans for WrestleMania 39 by adding Sami Zayn to the main event of the show. The former Intercontinental Champion is currently one of the biggest babyfaces in the entire wrestling industry, after he was unable to dethrone Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Many fans called for the higher-ups to make the world title match at the grandest stage of them all a triple threat match. Speaking to Jimmy Traina of C Media in a recent interview, Paul Heyman was asked whether WWE thought about changing plans for WrestleMania 39 based on the reaction Sami Zayn has been receiving from fans. The special counsel stated that there's always an urge to change something in order to test the waters. There's always an inkling to change any plan because the old expression is you have a test audience every night. We're very adaptable. We think we have a really good formula here and we think we have a really good path. And I don't think you've seen the last of Sami Zayn. In fact, I can guarantee you haven't seen the last of Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens, nor any of the other players in this act that we've put together, said Heyman. At the Royal Rumble 2023, the former honorary youth turned on the bloodline by attacking Roman Reigns with a steel chair. He had the opportunity to dethrone the head of the table in his hometown of Montreal but was unsuccessful. During the same interview with C Media, Paul Heyman shared that he gets why Sami Zayn is popular right now, and he hopes that the latter remains that way in the near future. I understand that people have wanted more for Sami, that's the object. We try to do that with every challenger. We did that with Drew McIntyre going over to Cardiff in the UK. We try to do that with everyone that comes into the co-starring role with Roman Reigns in terms of who his opponent is going to be for the match that we're trying to sell. I hope 6 months from now, people are still clamoring more and more for Sami. That's what we do. We try to make stars out of everyone that's within our orbit, he said. Many fans are expecting Sami Zayn to team up with Kevin Owens to take on the Usos for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania 39. It'll be interesting to see what transpires at the event. Do you think Sami should be added to the main event of WrestleMania? Sound off in the comments below.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me